So hello, everyone. An opening note for this recording is that today is Saturday, February 12th, 2022. This interview is with Ellen McAllister, who celebrated her 105th birthday about 3 months ago. We are in Paris, Ontario. My name is Elaine Tully. I'm president of the Women Inspiring Women WI. Special thanks to Janice Kyle for helping me and hosting me as we do this interview. And also to Karen Murray Hoff for helping Ellen on her end with the technology. So Ellen, you've had a remarkable lifetime of achievements, but today we're going to be specifically talking about your WI time and experiences. What attracted you to WI in the first place?
Well, when I got married in 1938, my husband's mother was very active in the Whiteman's Creek Women's Institute, and she invited me to go to the meeting, which I did. And the women were all much older than me, but I enjoyed getting acquainted with them. But they wanted to be president, right? But I wanted to raise a family first. So that's what I did. My children were born in 1940, January the 5th, and October the 5th, and 42, and January the 12th, and 44. So I didn't take on the president of Whiteman's Creek WI until 1949.
So you were about 10 years in.
Pardon?
You had been a member for about 10 years by then. Were you still a member when you were having your children?
Sorry.
Did you continue to attend WI in those years when you were having your children?
It was during the war, and my mother-in-law lived in a large stone house. So along with United Church women, they had bees to make things for the Red Cross during the war. And I had a portable sewing machine.
Okay, so during the war, you were working together with the United Church women for making
Yes,
Red Cross stuff.
Whiteman's Creek was in the Bethel community.
Yeah.
So I had the privilege of going to the meetings. My husband would help me get the children ready. We lived in the house on the corner of the farm, and we would take them on the little hand sleigh and another sleigh with a sewing machine on, and something for a potluck dinner. and uh, would go right after breakfast over to my mother-in-law's. And the roads were often blocked with snow. So the farmer that was farthest down the Bethel Road would pick everybody up in his team and bobsled and come up to the McAllisters, which were up the other side of the Bethel Church. And someone from the other side of the community would do the same. And some of the near ones walked. So they'd have a day of sewing and making crazy quilts. And they'd always have one on the stretchers to tie with wool yarn.
Right. So they were tied quilts, not quilted.
No, they weren't quilted.
Mhm.
They were tied. There'd be a probably for the and I used flannelette blanket for the inside
Right.
with a flannelette for the back.
Right.
And so there'd be 3 layers.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
At
So they
noon, all the women had brought something for the potluck lunch. So we had a nice time of socializing and talking at the noon hour.
Mm-hmm. So and the children would all be just amusing themselves together among your work, and that was just how the day went, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't pick that up.
The children during the day, they just played around where you were working and
Yes,
everything was good.
and I had 2 children that first started, and they would have a sleep in the afternoon.
Right.
Of course, they were at grandma's, so they were quite familiar with everything.
Yes. Wonderful. Ellen, can you tell us some of your 1 or 2 things that really stand out in your memories of your years at WI? What were some really special things?
Yes, see, I'm thinking of the early years in the 30s. Our life revolved in our own community. We hadn't branched out any further and into the towns to Paris, Burford were our closest to. We hadn't branched out to know people and join groups outside of our own community.
Right.
So the WI was our main fellowship. And some of the women didn't belong to Bethel Church. So we never would have got acquainted with them if it hadn't been for the Whiteman's Creek WI.
Mm-hmm. So it was a real opportunity to get to know your neighbors.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped us grow, I guess. Like when I first became president, I was so shy, I was afraid to stand up in front of the women to speak. So I overcame that, and we all developed our own qualities and
The,
and all contributed to the fellowship
right.
of
So
the. We for entertainment, we had potluck dinners and programs afterward, just their own hometown. We had card games at the school. We weren't allowed to play cards at the church.
mm-hmm.
In the house, and those were always fun. We brought out the talents that the women had.
Mm-hmm. So the social aspect was a really would you say the social aspect was the most important for you, as opposed to what you might have learned, or was there, how would you equate those two?
I mean, it's kind of hard to follow, but another thing we enjoyed was a day trip each year, which would take us. Maybe we went to the restaurant at the mill in Ancaster,
Right.
and another time up to Elmhurst at Interkip. We'd have one a year, and that was always enjoyable. My children stayed with their dad and grandpa for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned the card games.
Yeah. With those oh, sorry.
We met at the WI. We chose two names of another branch, and they'd come to our branch, and we were fortunate to have the church. So we made a luncheon for them. And
Mm-hmm.
so in that way, we got to know women in other parts of the county, which made it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you remember short courses and those sorts of things? Was there any of those that really stood out for you?
Yes, some of them having food
Mm-hmm.
for us.
Mm-hmm.
Where a couple of women would go and be trained and then bring it back to the branch.
Right.
And I must tell you, when my first introduction to WI was when I was 16 years old. There was 3 teenagers when they had a short course on sewing entitled The Kitchen Ensemble,
Oh,
which is a sewing course of, I don't know, probably 6 weeks, once a week, where we made a house dress and an apron. This was before the days when women hadn't started to wear pants like we do today.
right.
No one hears of house dresses now.
No.
So I was learned to sew, and I was surprised to be asked to represent Whiteman's Creek at the Hamilton Convention,
Oh,
which brought me more self-confidence.
mm-hmm. And that was already at just 16, right? You did that?
Yes,
Right.
that was my first introduction to
Yeah.
WI. But of
Oh,
course,
boy.
I didn't become a member until I was married.
Yeah. Did you do much fundraising in those days? After the war, was fundraising something you did? And I'm just wondering, if you did, what were you using that money to support?
I can't pick it up much.
Oh, were you doing things to raise money at WI?
Oh, yes, we had bazaars
Oh,
and our card parties.
Mhm.
We paid a little bit for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a cookbook, which brought in some money.
Right.
We always had a struggle to make much money because we were all pretty well, most of us were members of the church too. So our money was sort of divided.
Right.
We had to support our church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you remember giving money to any particular cause or organization?
Giving money to well, during the war, we made gift bags for the people in the services,
Right.
and that took money, and I just can't offhand
Oh, that's fine.
think of other
Yeah,
things we contributed to.
yeah. I'm wondering if you, with all of your marvelous life experience, do you have any advice to give to women's institutes as we celebrate 125 years?
Well, I'd like to congratulate them. Our branch folded, and I guess it was 1977, likely. And I congratulate the women, inspiring women. And I think it's great to keep that positive attitude to carry on.
Mhm.
It's no matter what else we belong to, we need the fellowship of being with other women
Mhm.
of similar ideas, similar talents, fellowship. It's not well worded, but
Oh, I think I completely understand what you're saying, and that's I think great advice. Um, do you have anything else about your time in WI that you'd like to share with us?
I guess I told you about being so shy when I first became president, didn't I?
You did, and you know what? I think maybe you would agree that WI really does a great job of helping women to come into a sense of confidence. What did you find? I think that's what you're saying you found, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
I
Well, I really hope that you can join Women Inspiring Women at our birthday party this year. Do you think you'd be up for that?
don't go out much
You don't.
anymore.
Yeah. We sure loved
No,
having you when you came to our birthday parties. It
but
was,
I did enjoy getting to know some of the women, and I guess it was maybe your annual meeting, so there was some of the district women came that I
yes,
knew.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great. Good. Okay. Well, if you don't have any further things, I don't want to cut you off, but if you feel comfortable, um, are you okay feeling like you've told us everything we should hear?
am, am I okay? What is it?
Are is there anything else you'd like to add, or will we say farewell?
Oh, well, not at the not at the present. I always enjoyed when we met with other women and had to do some entertainment.
Yeah.
We had some uh, original talent that came out that gave us a good laugh.
That was just so much fun, wasn't it, to get together and do those programs?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess that's what you enjoy today too.
Yes, things are very different today because we don't often depend on our own resources for entertaining. You know, back when you're talking about, women would happily put on a play or sing
Yes,
or do whatever. I think we do less of that now, but
uh,
those were so much fun. I remember from being in WI, in my own family, that yeah, those were really fun times.
as we did have speakers come in too,
Uh-huh.
and the Women's Institute sponsored the 4-H
Hmm.
homemaking clubs
Hmm.
when I was in the branch, and I became a leader in the homemaking and received my 10-year certificate for being a leader.
Hmm.
That was a wonderful experience.
Right. 4-H and WI were so tightly uh, connected back then, um, much more so than today. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, um, I want to thank you for sharing your experiences with us, um, and for the inspiration that you've provided, for everybody that will be able to listen to this chat. And we wish you all the best with continued health and happiness. It's wonderful to have talked.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed talking to you.
Wonderful.